The latest Ipsos chart tells a devastating story. Keir Starmer has within mere months achieved what no Labour leader would wish to claim. He's become the most unpopular Prime Minister since polling began in the late 1970s, not even Thatcher. In the bleakest months of the poll tax sank so quickly in net satisfaction. The crimson line representing Starmer plunges below that of Truss, of Brown, of Major. It is a record of rapid disappointment, a statistical cliff edge. Voters expected a restorer, a man of reason and calm after years of turmoil. Plunged into Brexit by Cameron's stupidity, what they have instead found is managerial austerity, technocratic distance, and a government with little warmth or vision. Labour's rhetoric of stability now feels like reassurance and feels less like reassurance and more like, stagnation. Going nowhere. Even as Labour clings to the language of competence, it has drifted into the most dangerous political terrain of all, indifference. The party's pay-per-mile tax proposal, leaked before the budget, epitomises the problem. The government that promised fairness now threatens to punish electric car owners with new levies, undoing the very green transition it claims to champion. The symbolism is brutal, taxing aspiration while claiming virtue. The public mood has soured. Starmer's approval rating is not collapsing because of scandal, but because of disappointment. The voters no longer believe he has any story to tell at all. And in a curious echo of national frustration, a Starmer effigy was burnt on bonfires last night, an act with a long lineage. On the 5th of November, Britain has for centuries lit fires not merely to celebrate the foiling of the gunpowder plot, but to exorcise the anger of rage. And once it was Guy Fawkes, later Napoleon or the Pope, now occasionally politicians. To be the guy on bonfire night is to become a national effigy, a scapegoat of discontent, and that Starmer himself found himself literally in that role says more about public sentiment. In the lore of the festival, he is the man who promised light and brought only dampness. It is an extraordinary, almost Shakespearean fall. The prosecutor turned premier, now burnt in effigy by the very people who trusted him. Yet here lies the irony. The ritual itself is fading. Bonfire night once bound the country together in a shared sense of relief and identity. It marked the triumph of order over fanaticism, of the Constitution over conspiracy. Families gathered, children begged a penny for the guy, and communities met around the flames. Today, that spirit is being eclipsed by Halloween's imported glamour and by the bureaucratic sterility of modern life. You know that until 1959 it was illegal not to mark the day. Few recall that the word guy, once a term of ridicule, has become a global colloquialism for person. And fewer still remember that the tradition of searching the Palace of Westminster's cellars before the state opening of Parliament is a direct legacy of that night in 1605. If the bonfire burns lower, it is not merely due to health and safety, it is the quiet loss of shared history. And so, we end with the broader metaphor. Labour stands where the bonfire does, once a source of warmth and hope, now reduced to embers. That party that promised renewal has become bureaucratic and joyless in 1 year. Voters sense not conviction but calculation, and the lesson from both the polls and the pyres is simple. Britain will forgive error before it forgives emptiness. People long for leadership that rekindles a sense of purpose, that reminds us who we are. Starmer's Labour hasn't got that spark, is never burnt with that spark of who we are. Until it does, or if it does, unless it does, it risks being remembered not as the government that restored faith, but as the one that extinguished it completely. Remember, remember, the old rhyme goes. But in 2025, the irony is cruel. We have forgotten what we once celebrated, and we have lost faith in those who promised to lead.